G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. Today on the podcast, it's the 2-minute warning after round one. This episode is brought to you by Tab Touch. The more you know, the better it gets. Download the Tab Touch app today. Real punters play here. What are you really gambling with? All right, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast wherever you listen, please do that. Leave a rating, leave a review, tell your mates. Let's get stuck in. This is the Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rynne, joined today by Ryan Daniels, and a special guest appearance thanks to Ted Ellis's gastro or whatever it's called. We got Selby Lee-Steere, the fantasy goat here. Welcome back, Selb.
Nick, righto, good to be here, mate.
We're amongst royalty today,
are.
Nicholas. For those who don't know him by the name Selby, it's Moreira's Magic.
It's Moreira's Magic himself.
A two-time winner.
We say two-time,
Two-time winner, yeah. Two-time winner
that's two-time.
of the AFL fantasy competition. And just now he's like, you know, what's in the Bible where it was like, you know, teach a man to fish or whatever it is. And
you fish for a day. Is that a Bible? I think that's
is it a Bible thing? No, give a man a fish. Now he just gives everybody fish because he teaches them all how to fish.
This is right.
He's got his own platform where you can subscribe to, and he teaches you how to be better at fantasy, which for people like you,
it's been a godsend.
Massive help.
Yeah.
But for me, I've leveled up thanks to it. Like I was always thought I knew what I was doing, but thanks to you, Selby, I've got a system that I use, and it's your system.
No, thank you, Rhino. That's nice of you to say. Fishing ban hasn't helped that cause, but nice of Rynne to be wearing the Northampton Rams hat.
Yeah, I thought he's left out. I think this is a travesty. Every time they talk about Northampton and all the premierships and the players that emerged from such a small town, they never mention two-time AFL fantasy winner.
Build the man a statue, I say.
yeah, get him on there.
Where do we think? Xavier, do we think the Ted thing's real? Do we think he's not just taking a sickie? We're 100% sure
I don't
about
know.
this?
So this is for everyone. This has been like the little podcast that could. It's tried to fail about 100 times this episode. First of all, you were travelling back with West Coast all day Monday.
You know what? I was, and I can tell you, I know they bitch and whinge about travelling and stuff, the WA teams. It's exhausting. Like I wasn't even playing. I didn't even play, and they had to leave on Friday. It's a 4 days basically of your life taken up. And they didn't get back till 24 hours after the game finished yesterday. Yeah. And then they've got to like catch up on the week. Whereas their opponents play on the Saturday, they didn't have to travel that first game, so they're just sort of chilling.
It's not just travel. I think they get one less day of training too, don't they?
You lose a day.
That's what Baker came back and said when he came over here.
Yeah.
They're training less.
It is so shit. Yeah. It is so shit. So
that was step one, and then we had to try and juggle it around my work.
You had a very busy day because you're a very busy man these days.
Correct. And then just about an hour before we were ready to come in, we get a text from Zay that says, I'm out.
All three of us tried to pull out at some point. And somehow we've managed to get 2 out of 3, which is meat left with
Luckily, the goat's on call.
That was a late call-up.
Very late
I felt a bit like Milan off the list 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden debut.
Here he comes. Let's see if it's a similar performance.
While we've got you here, we'd be remiss, and the people listening out there who play fantasy, have you got one bit of advice this week that you can dish out to the masses?
Well, you need the kids, and the kids are Milan Murdoch. And Braden Cook from Adelaide.
So if you don't have those, you've got to get them.
You just got to get them. And unfortunately, we'll speak about that when we go through Sydney, but with Errol Goulden going down, it might mean having just to go an absolute gun down to a kid just for a week, just so you don't miss them, and then you've got that cash to spend next week.
So if you had like a Jack Steele who underperformed, or
you've just
a
got
Darcy
to give him
Parish,
a week.
just sit on that, fix the kids first.
Yes, and watch those slow inside ageing midfielders. These slow ageing midfielders next week for one more week, and then you can rip it off the misery and get it Max Holmes or Dacos next week and be happy.
All right, there we heard it from the GOAT.
We heard it from the GOAT. And then a step back from fantasy, talking about the game.com.au, our tipping competition. You enter with the code null at the game.com.au if you haven't yet. So this week's winner was truly special.
Come on.
With 9 and a 3 margin. Name. That's the team name.
How many
teams? There's about 100.
How many teams are called that?
I wish I had a bit more data on it. I can't find it. And then the overall leader is Hodgie's Hog.
Do you reckon that's actually Hodgie?
I don't think Hodgie calls himself Hodgie Hog. I'm pretty sure I'm in terms of like our little, people on the pod. I think I'm in front, rank 42.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know about
genius.
Where it started. All right, so there's no weekly price though, is it?
There's no weekly price. So there was a pre-season. We're just going to read it out, just to give them a bit
Truly
of
Special is leading.
The best thing is about 100 Truly Specials who think that they won the week.
Exactly.
Check the thing.
It's not so special now, is it? There's so many of you.
Well, they might have won the whole round, actually. There's only a 3-point margin. Like, there were 3 off the margin.
And got every tip.
And got 9.
That's incredible. How do you get 9 this week?
Yeah, I know.
It's a bloody good effort. Okay, all right, let's get straight into it then, hey? Selby, you're the guest, so you can start. Just pick whichever team you like.
Let's go the D's, because I thought they were the most impressive winners on the weekend. A lot of been made of St Kilda and how they've overpaid for these players and how under Naz and whatever it is, and it's kind of been missed. This team who we all thought were over the hill, 4 years behind West Coast, and we're going to be bottom 4. New coaches come in and they're fun. The new age Melbourne, Windsor in there, Pickett times 2. Like you can actually see a complete difference on what they were doing previously to now what they are now, and they're actually a fun team to watch.
I expected them to be not great, but I did have this thing that you started to hear the Stephen King stuff, that he was a real galvanizer of people, and he was saying and doing all the right things behind the scenes of the players. He was the first one who was like, Clary's got to go. We need a reset on that stuff. That can make a big difference, right?
Well, I think it's what Port Adelaide were hoping for. Like the change in coach, they actually see difference and different personnel.
But they did it wrong where they had
different
that
game
weird
they had the same guy that never works.
Yeah.
So Josh Carr can be the new coach, and we'll get to Port later, but he's still the same guy. He's been there.
Big difference for Melbourne.
King comes
too.
in, he's a reset on everything.
And everybody just gets a little, it gives a bit of wind into everyone's sail. Jacob Van Rooyen.
Yeah, well, he's appreciating that quicker ball movement through the direct.
How much did he looked like leaner,
Well,
right?
the haircut.
The haircut helps.
I think the haircut was a bad week to do it when they just talked about the hair follicle drug bans. Like,
Do you know
don't come
what?
out with a shaved head.
It was funny, and I'm not insinuating that any of those guys are, but I was talking we were in the box waiting for the Gold Coast West Coast game to start. And Simon Black was there. He didn't know about the changes, and I was explaining to him. I said, so watch out for guys with shaved heads this week. And we looked up, and there was like 3 demons sitting in the change rooms.
Van Ruin's just gone up a level.
I think Kate Chandler. And I was like, not those guys, though. Not those guys.
Ralph Smith from Richmond had a good one.
Ralph
Just
Smith.
one thing on King. So obviously he came runner-up to McQualter, and I think that was announced by good old Spriggy the 28th of September 2024. Since then, King's won the same amount of games as McQualter.
Oh, wow.
A year and a half later.
That's
and
a
if
good
you count the
stat.
practice matches, he's actually won more games than McQualter.
Jesus, that's a good stat.
He had something to play with, though.
Yeah, he's obviously got,
compared to
it helps that he got a back score, greatest of all time, doing what he's doing.
Because
he's
Cosy
big
Pickett,
as well.
but
It's funny, though, you're right.
he might have got lucky, I think, missing out of that.
Bit of a sliding doors if he doesn't faint.
Yeah.
Remember he fainted?
That's right.
Because he was like dehydrated and tired and been flying back and forth.
The fate saved him.
Maybe. Like, it's sliding doors. All right, I'm going to go now. And let's go to the Gold Coast Suns, who, let's be honest, they did it easy in the first half and then kind of played with their food. In the second half, we'll get to West Coast part of that later. What I want to talk about is Christian Petrarca.
Oh.
And I feel like somehow, I know we thought it was a big deal when it happened, but did we underestimate just how big a deal it is? Because we're getting Christian Petrarca not just by name, and that's what he's been the last 2 years. We're getting a pissed off Petrarca. Like, it feels like he's got something to prove. He trained like a maniac in the off-season. If you don't know, you follow his Instagram.
Yeah.
He was out of control.
Yeah.
He's like changed again his diet. He's doing all these insane things to get to the level.
Do you reckon he
where
eats all the food he cooks?
I reckon he does.
You reckon?
I reckon
It's
he
all
does.
pretty good.
Yeah, it all looks pretty healthy.
Yeah.
And this kicking coach he obviously got.
Kicking coach?
He'd be the most
Kicking
booked
coach.
man in Australia for the next 12 months,
This
wouldn't
is the
he?
thing, right? He's gone and done all these extra stuff. He's ticked off about how it ended at Melbourne. He wants to prove.
Yep.
And now he's playing like he's having the best time. He looks like he's having more fun than anybody.
He does. Don't underestimate, though, like, he almost, like, that was a hell serious injury.
Correct.
And it was a year off and then a year to get some conditioning back.
He's like a new man.
But still, I think last week was his highest rated game
Yeah.
ever.
That's crazy.
And then the Gold Coast game was a top 5. So
I would suggest he's close to having 6 Brownlow votes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Like,
He'd have 8 if you could.
it's this is an amazing start. I think it's the perfect player for them. And when you add Rao back into that mix, they're going to be really scary. Ben King is just like, he just stands at the end of the line and kicks 5 goals easily. Now,
Yeah,
right?
he
Like in
can-
his 6 touches, he'll get 5 goals.
And that's always the argument. Is like he's just a lead up forward and stuff. Well,
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, what's the problem? Like,
Hey, he's going to play that role. He's going to kick them 75 goals this year, and they're going to be very, very good. It doesn't matter if he's got flair.
no. And he's
Although
probably
his
not
first one was around
He's
the
probably
body.
going to re-sign.
Well, maybe.
Would you not?
Maybe.
After you've been there for this whole Gold Coast thing, now you're good. I'll go to Collingwood who are about to fall off a cliff.
Well, I'll tell you what, like, being at the ground, it was scary because they had their VFL practice match beforehand. They had Jamara running around, Jed Walter running around, and then out on the back oval, which you could see through the back of the box, was Matt Rao out there training. I was like, this is insane. Like, the amount of talent these guys have at their disposal. And
How'd you
that's not
get there?
even
You had a car
including...
park, right?
No, we
You
had
had a
taxi.
bus?
No, you
No,
had
you
a
had a taxi.
little taxi dropped
Is
us
there a
off.
taxi rate?
But that's even, I think it was Adensol and Murray. They had 2 more first round
Bo
picks.
Adensol, yeah.
They're injured.
Guy
They're not
Murray.
playing at all. And Patterson hasn't even had a run yet. And Hewland's got a minor role.
Walter.
The talent is just going to go through the roof, and it's a nice problem to have.
Frightening. All right, I'll go to Western Bulldogs. So we talked in the preseason about how many goals Sam Darcy could kick, and where did we land? Like 85, 90?
We went high.
We went
real high.
He's going to come home strong.
He's going to come home with a wet sail. But how many goals do you reckon Aaron Norton has kicked in his last 10 games?
Last 10 games? I would say he's at the 50 mark.
Selbs?
40.
Yeah, 42.
Yeah, right.
42 goals from 10 games. And I think we spoke about this back end of last year. He looked like he was just kind of coasting and didn't know where, and they were talking about need to put him back. And something's just happened, and he's now become...
You know what's happened?
Darcy.
Sam Darcy.
Sam Darcy's taken a go. Yeah, true.
They freak out about Sam Darcy. Every team, as soon as he's walking to the forward line, they're like, shit, put three guys on.
Yeah.
And then Norton's just going, how good is this? I'm one-on-one every time. I can fly at everything. No one cares what I do. This is a gift to Aaron Norton, and he's a really good player.
He is.
But we always discussed he's not a 1A in terms of your forward line.
Yeah, we thought he could be back when he was burst on the scene and had a couple of really good years, but then he just kind of coasted. But this is unlocked a serious, and it's going to have to shift at some point, right? If Darcy keeps playing like he is and Norton keeps
not
playing
necessarily, because teams will figure out that if they leave Darcy quickly, he'll make them pay.
Yeah,
so I feel for Darcy though, because the teams are going to ruin his fun. He's not going to have any fun being that guy. That's a sacrificial role.
Yes. Your Jai miss sacrificial role.
Maybe you should call Jai and get some tips.
No one does it. How do I play this role? But Bulldogs just I think, and it might just be a vibe thing, but this is the most sort of solid. It looks like everybody knows happy. What position they play is the main thing. They're not just throwing everyone in the midfield and trying stuff.
Lockie Jakes.
Woo.
So he's led the team for intercepts the first 2 rounds of round 0 and round 1.
Amazing.
Even Selwood coming in is just like a hard nose, tackling, role player. They look scary.
And then their stars are still stars, aren't they? Bont and Pelly. Every week we watch him and think, gee, he actually is the best player.
He is the best player in the game.
And how they just left him for long stretch. Don't just let him do what he wants.
He's a star. It doesn't make sense, the size of him and the skill of him. Hey, West Coast Hi-Fi. Check this out, guys. There's a shipment of the award-winning Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2E noise-cancelling headphones have just landed in Australia. In fact, we have got some right here. For those watching on YouTube, this is them. How beautiful are they? They're light.
Well, lovely.
But they feel strong at the same time. The quality is outstanding. They're available exclusively from West Coast Hi-Fi. Only $429, Selby. That is a bargain. These are way more than that.
Good pair of noise.
That is right. Just $429. Hurry and feel the experience this summer at West Coast Hi-Fi. Who gets to keep these?
I don't know. Whoever gets, it's like our own question
not
of the
safe.
week.
He's not here. He's not here. You're up next, Sel.
So you mentioned not tagging the Bont. So let's talk about GWS, who decided not to tag the Bont. And I think they'll try to go head-to-head with Finn Callaghan, who's kind of up-and-coming Bont.
He's a star, but he's not Bont
obviously
yet.
Bont showed who's the boss.
Yeah.
And same with Toby Green. We kind of knew that they were going to be weak in the midfield. We knew this in opening round, but I think they surprised everyone when they smashed the Hawks. We kind of gave them a bit of a hope, but that wasn't surprising. They got beaten in the midfield with no Tom Green, no Josh Kelly. It's the rucks, which keeps coming back to GWS, and Tim English came out and dominated old Kieran Briggs. And this is the man, Tim English, who didn't win a hit-out battle 2 years ago, to come out and have 22 touches, 23 hit-outs against Briggs's... What did he have? He had 15 hit-outs, 9 touches, went at 33%. You go through the list of the Giants, and maybe with their list build, it's the one area they've never really nailed. Like they had the Mummy running around there for a bit.
Yeah,
there was
Prusy.
Big Prusy, Flynn himself.
Yep.
Sam Jacobs had a run there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Giles from...
Jeez, they've had it. Jonathan Giles.
Giles.
And then you just don't want to pull back too many receipts, but going back to when they had their early... in the competition, had all the picks in the top 10.
Yeah.
And they had 5 picks before Grundy was taken at pick 18.
Oof,
and that included Jonathan O'Rourke at 2,
O'Rourke.
Lockie Plowman at 3,
Plowman,
Christian Jenks at 12.
All these blokes ended up playing for Carlton, by the way.
Yes.
Every
Silvani just really liked
and then
them.
St Kilda. And then Aidan Core at 14. So Whitfield was obviously hit at pick 1, but just maybe they should have just had a punt on a decent ruck, because that's
what
the
about
thing.
Nick Madden? I kind of like Nick Madden.
Well, might have to be Madden from next week. I think the rules that where it's favouring these jumpers, that's probably why English has had 2 good weeks in a row.
Yeah.
The old stumpy Kieran Briggs type who used to like to body up, it's not happening anymore
Time's
for them.
gone.
What kind of ruck were you?
I'd like to say I was more Tim English than Briggs, but that's being very generous.
You would have been a leaper. I can
was
see
more
that.
of a jumper,
You got
yes.
some spring. No, that's a good shout. And I watched that game in full, and I was like, I don't feel like this is not the same team that beat Hawthorn the week before.
Not at all.
They had something special that week before. They did not have it at all on the weekend.
Truly special.
Something truly special.
All right.
Oh, it's me now.
It's you.
Okay, I'm going to go to Adelaide. It's one game, and we're not quite sure on where Collingwood sit, and we'll get to them in a moment. Did we predict the demise a little prematurely?
Yes. I never predicted it.
You took the under.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
But it was a high under.
So don't act all high and mighty about the Crows.
But then I tipped him.
You took the under. Really liked Isaac Cumming. I thought that he had a really average year last year, just playing in weird roles. I thought he was outstanding on the weekend. I thought he had plenty of run, plenty of defensive stuff, but also that beautiful goal he kicked on the run as well. I was like, okay, this is the Isaac Cumming. I think we all thought that they might be able to get a level up from his GWS stuff, a bit more responsibility. He's in the leadership group now. Friday's massive against the Dogs, but him playing.
Oh, what a game!
Yeah, they
Was
never
surprised.
discuss Friday night footy that good.
Yeah.
This early.
No,
we normally get screwed on
can
the
we not
fixture.
get Essendon and
We
Carlton?
forget that they were the top team last year.
Yeah.
And we obviously lost those two finals without their best player, in Isaac Rankin, who's back this week, I believe.
Is he back this week?
He's back this week.
Jesus, clear my Friday.
But the best thing, what I liked about Adelaide, is that they realised what everyone else saw, that they were playing in those finals, and they have made changes. So to a team who finished at the top, they've thrown in Rochelle. They've given Moreira the licence in half-back to get the ball in his hands more.
Well, we've been waiting for him
Cook's
too.
come in.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Isaac come in. Like, they look at different teams. The
Pedlar.
thrill seeker pops in the midfield and does a few little
always
centre
liked Pedlar.
bounces.
Yeah.
So they haven't just sat there and said, a bit like, let's roll out the same team and hope for the same result.
But these two teams were the two teams if you said who's going to fall, one of these two teams was predicted by just about everyone.
Yes.
Right? When
Yeah,
you looked
yeah,
at
yeah,
the
those are
others,
two ones.
Adelaide or Collingwood, they were the two you were wrestling with. So this game was both of them.
Yes.
And the glaring weaknesses of Collingwood were there to see, and we'll talk about them in a minute. But it just felt like Adelaide were more professional across the board. They had more stuff. They do have the pillars in the Thriller and Dawson, and they've got a pretty solid back line. I kind of felt pretty good about them.
Yeah.
And Friday's going to be massive. We'll see where they're really at. It's a home game for them.
Well, whatever. No matter what the performance was, it's still a win at the MCG, win away from home first up. Well, yeah, you just looked like you got the job done.
And what about
Won
the
game
kid
and
Ruckman, McAndrew?
McAndrew.
He took
He
it up
delivered.
to Darcy Cameron.
He was good. He was really good. And Cameron's a very good ruckman. as I
Cameron
can
might be
tell
the
you.
best in the competition.
Apparently.
Wait, was he all Australian?
Squad.
Nah, squad.
Well, he was best and fair or something.
Squad.
All right, Hawthorn. Are more Nick Watson centre bounces part of the solution, you think? Because
Yes.
that's obviously...
Yes.
Every time he's in there, even if he doesn't actually get the clearance, there's a bit of energy, a bit of something about him you have to worry about
Nick
him.
Watson is the new Toby Green.
Well, but
It's
I've
not-
always
not-
liked
with
Toby
a bit
better as
more
a
buzz,
forward.
probably, too.
Well, I just think
Yeah.
like he's easy to hate. Like if you're an opposition player, like this little prick. Like
Has he
he's
got an
just
ad already?
Driving me
How's
mad.
that? He's got an ad
He's got
already.
the wizard ad. I love the
Yeah.
ad. Good
That's
acting.
great.
Good
And
acting.
he's good.
Yeah,
He's
the
good.
delivery of
Too
the last
good.
line.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could use a little tweaking, but he was
But he's a game changer. He's a massive game changer.
And they needed something because obviously Kane's been in the news this week saying they're probably lucky they missed out on Merritt, which, again, going back to the final series, they need an extra midfielder.
Yep.
So I don't think they are lucky they missed. They Ward, McKenzie, Newcomb.
Yeah, I don't
that
think-
wasn't enough.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, Watson might be that bit of spark they do need in there.
Yeah, so what do you have? 17 and 4 goals. Coaches gave him best on ground.
He was best on ground.
But he had 9 centre bounces on the weekend, same as Connor McDonald. I don't know, I feel like if that lifts a bit, like I would throw back to the week before where they just look flat as anything. Like
But I
that's
don't
something
think you
that
want
can
him in there
change.
all the time, though.
No, but you want
it loses the novelty.
Well, you want a
spark.
60. I wouldn't mind a 60-40.
Maybe.
Just
Maybe.
try it. Because they need, like we're talking about, their midfield. Yeah.
Josh Ward was really good.
Yeah, but he's not the impact like game breaking player.
They're still one short.
Yeah.
Yeah, because McKenzie, I don't think at this stage is ready for
I think that's
just
why
to-
he can go in there because he's not taking midfield minutes off someone else. Like we
Yeah.
all speak Freo with Luke Jackson going in there. Well, that means a Hayden Young comes out or whoever
Yeah.
it is. Whereas knowing that Watson's or McKenzie's, McDonald's in, well, you're kicking out Nash for a centre. Like it's not going to.
Yeah, the big dogs aren't
Yes.
missing out. But yeah, I don't know. Hawthorn, still a tough read for me. I cannot tell if they're good or well. No, I don't think they're that great. But they put them away.
Hawthorn?
Yeah,
Nah, I think that was the start of their season. That GWS game,
That's
they were
more
sloppy and
concerning
they didn't look great. Yeah, Essendon.
concern for
oof,
us, and then
Jesus.
we'll get to that.
Freo.
Oh,
Are we talking good Freo or bad Freo? Because that first
up to you.
quarter.
The
let's
ball's
go
in
both.
your
Hit it on me.
hands.
The knock on Freo: slow, boring, low scoring.
Yep.
Forwards don't fire. stoppage. Watching that first quarter was as good as I've seen them play ever, I think.
Yeah.
The best forwards are dangerous, move the ball quick, direct. Hayden Young looked the closest thing to Marcus Bontempelli on its left foot coming around, snapping goals. Then obviously what happened in the second half, which was either...
Or even after quarter time, really.
Or after quarter time. They missed some goals in that second quarter, but was it the fatigue? Was it this opening round business they speak of? Did they go in their shell? Did the players not know how to act in that sort of environment? Obviously Geelong were fired up and you saw Scotty give a bit of a bake at quarter time.
Yep.
So we're hoping we see a lot, because that first quarter, I don't know about you, Nick, but I was booking the bus.
Yeah, the bus was being booked, yeah.
You just look at that last quarter, and the standout for me, because there's obviously Sarong dominated. I think he had 12 touches in that last quarter.
Yeah,
he was trying.
He had 12. He was everywhere. Yep. He didn't have anyone to go with him. So Swakowski, 0. Zave's mate Amos, 0. Dudley, 0. Young, 0. Obviously management time while he wasn't in the midfield to finish. That might be a question for...
Yeah, but still...
O'Driscoll 1, Tracy 1, Walker 1, Pearce 1, Andy Brayshaw 1. So Andy at his best, I think, is one of the best two-way running midfielders in the comp. He wins his own ball, but also goes back and tackles. At his worst, he's a pretty plain midfielder. And now that they've got Murphy Reid running through, Young, Jackson, and you look at the back-to-back premiers of a great midfield group, McCluggage, Neil, Bailey and Rayner coming in. Dunkley's taken that role of, okay, well, I'm not the flashy one. I'm going to take the best midfielder each week and be the defensive mid. And I think that's where Andy Brayshaw needs to go. Seeing someone like a Max Holmes go off the chain like he did. Yeah. Why doesn't Andy Brayshaw say, I'll take Max Holmes the rest of the game, or Bailey Smith, and just have someone in that mix to let the other guys go to work? And I don't know if if that's going to be a knock to the ego, saying you're now the defensive midfielder, but I don't think him in that midfield group, I think he needs to be. I don't think he's.
I like that. No, I like that shout. Yeah, I like that shout because you're right. Sarong's the guy in
he wins it in an under.
Young's the class. Jackson's the wild card. So Reed's the flair, and then
get him on Max Holmes.
Well, Holmes was the problem, wasn't he? Like he was just running up and down. Can we just extend to talk about the opening round stuff? Couple of things with the opening round.
Oh, he's teed up.
No, because I think we all agree that the opening round is ridiculous, right?
Yes.
The only people who seem to enjoy it are the people whose teams are playing.
And this isn't even talking competitive advantage, just in general.
In general, we don't like it. We don't like it. It's disjointed. Now we've got less games this week.
Early buys. Early buys makes early.
It doesn't get straightened out until gather round, which is like round 5. Then we're all back on even pillar. And then the next buys start not long after that. So there's criticism on Justin Longmuir for coming out and doing it then. For starters, he answered a question in a presser.
Yeah,
so
they missed that question, don't they?
They do. And before that question, he had been lauding Geelong and how well they'd came back. And how Fremantle didn't handle it. Talk about a lot of negative stuff with Fremantle saying, we didn't handle this yet, X, Y, Z. Then he was asked specifically about that. He has to answer it truthfully. And you could say there's another time for him to say that. Is that tonight with me on the news? Maybe. Is it at his presser on Thursday ahead of the next game? Well, if he does it then, he's been criticised for living in the past and you got to focus on the next game.
I would suggest just to insert a line like, this is not the time to talk about it and not how we lost, but.
The other problem then is people will say, well, it shouldn't be up to you. The CEO should be doing that privately with the AFL. I can promise you it doesn't work as well if you do it that way. Simon Garlick ringing Andrew Dillon and saying, mate, next year at least let us play a non-team or put us in opening round or it might happen. But there's no pressure. The pressure comes from the noise that comes with a comment like that from Longmuir.
Yes.
So, yes, you could see it as an excuse, but it's not wrong. Like, people often confuse excuses and reasons, I think. Excuses is the negative term for it.
And I liked him having, because the knock on Jo is he just sort of floats along.
No, he's got a chip on his shoulder.
It's nice to see him have a little bit of
he has that.
gusto back.
He has that. And I think he's 100% right. You cannot have, and there was ways to do it. You could have played a team in Melbourne, still travelled, that hadn't played.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put them against Melbourne.
Yeah, maybe don't give it to the people who have to travel.
Well, it just doesn't make any sense.
Or give them some Kilda who has played. That makes it even easier, doesn't it?
Well, I guess
Geelong, that is.
Yes. There's 10 teams who played. They can all play each other in the second week of footy.
Yes.
And then have the non-gather round team or non-opening round teams.
The Canadian algorithm.
It's not that hard. All right? It's actually not that hard. And with all the other inequalities in the fixture, you don't need another one. Okay, there we go.
The tent man, did he go talking points?
That is absolutely nothing to do with the tent. I agree. Which was the same with every single team that had to play against one.
Yeah, I reckon West Coast would have beaten Gold Coast if not for the
Yes, that was the
opening round.
difference.
I reckon that was the difference there.
That was the exact difference.
Speaking of Max Holmes, let's go to the team who won that game. Is he, like, watching him run around and just basically turn the tide?
Yeah.
Like, is he the comp's most unassuming A-grader? Like, he doesn't get spoken about often. He just, like, when people would mention Geelong and Max Holmes, but he's not, like, held to the level of some of the other ones.
When people mention Geelong, they mention Bailey Smith.
Yeah, they mention Bailey Smith. When Max Holmes is their guy.
Yeah, Holmes is their best player.
Holmes is their best player. This is what I think. So, he tore Freo apart. I went through a list. I tried to do a list of the 5 A-graders who nobody really appreciates enough.
This would be good.
So should I go from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1? And let me know if you got any extras.
Have you ordered down?
I've got a countdown.
Start from 5.
Yeah.
Go from 5 for sure.
Number 5 is Nick Larkey.
Yep.
Okay.
Nick Larkey is a dominant key forward, and he just happens to be
team.
playing for the worst team in the second worst team in
So
the
he's
AFL.
you're saying he's playing for Collingwood. Everyone loves him.
It's that kind of thing. Like he goes out and kicks 5 every week, and everyone goes, Nick Larkey, kick 5.
Gotcha.
Not like, wow, he's
No,
tearing
okay.
it apart.
No, you're good.
Nick Larkey, number 5. Number 4, Cal Wilkie.
Wow.
Another one who's just like one of the best players in
You
his
haven't
position
mentioned
in
2
the league.
captains, mind you, but yes.
He's a really good player, but I don't know if
Where's the captain?
Is he an A-grader?
I think Cal Wilkie's an A-grade. Cal Wilkie should have
I
been
think
a lock for
Wilkie's captain, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, is
And
he?
Larky's captain.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
outside the club. No one cares about him.
Okay.
Except us.
Yes.
All right. I
Cal
like
Wilkie
Cal.
should have
I
been
think
All
we've
Australian
always
last year.
given
He
Cal
should have
Wilkie
just
his
had
flowers.
that spot.
All right. Keep going.
If Sam Taylor's injured.
Josh Battle.
You're getting a little
Josh
shaky
Battle.
now.
That's a spot.
You're getting a little
Well, this is
shaky.
where number 3 gets.
Oh, here we go.
Josh Worrell.
Yeah.
Josh Worrell should have
That
been
was
All
the
Australian
spot.
last year. Him missing out on All Australian for Josh Battle was the
He's
biggest.
a really good player. Is
He's
he an
a very
A-grader?
good- Yes, he's an A-grader. He's an A-grader.
How many
defender.
A-graders do you have?
Heaps.
Like 50.
5. Just 5. Just these 5 that I get spoken about.
I think when people say A-graders, they mean like the say 10 best guys.
Josh Worrell's an A-grader.
Okay.
He's one of the 10 best key defenders in the
Well, I was
competition.
just say you can say he's an A-grader at what he does specifically.
Yeah, but he's
specific
kind of like
role.
falls into that like McGovern. Is he really a key defender? Was he not, or did he just have his own role, his own
not-
category?
He's on the McGovern comparisons.
No, they play differently, but I'm saying like
Okay.
Worrell has a bit of a
All
different
right.
category to a lot of key
Who's
defenders.
number 2?
Number 2 is he's starting to get buzz now, but still not enough as Ed Richards. And he wasn't enormous on the weekend.
He's
but
a proper
previously-
A.
He's an AA plus,
He's an A.
double A.
Not A. No, he's not A++.
He's an A plus.
Okay.
You didn't even have an All Australian last year, and I'm not sure I collected that carton from you.
Maybe not.
One to note, and then number 1's Max Holmes.
Yes. So
Yeah, that's
just
fair.
with those top 2 you mentioned, like they were both halfback flankers who've now moved in the midfield,
Yeah.
and where the game's going with less stoppages, with the ball being thrown up, and the changes to the ruck rule, stand rule, like they're the ones, those running types are going to excel. And I think what helped Geelong was the injury to Warple, because the week before their main midfield was Atkins, Warple, and they just looked slow against Gold Coast with Petrarca running out. And unfortunately for Fremantle, Warple out meant more Holmes, more Baz Smith in the midfield, and they just got run off their feet. So
Holmes' stuff too. How often did he take, not the kick in, but he was the first kick from the kick in?
Yes.
Yeah, and then he was
just
kicking inside
goes.
50.
And it was like, what are they doing here? Like, this is a set play every time. Where's Max?
Somebody
kick it to him and he goes.
get on
Andy.
Max.
Andy.
Yeah.
Port Adelaide I've got. So
Have you,
this is
this
where...
is a rogue setup too. Have you texted your notes to yourself?
Oh, look...
Whatever works for him.
It was getting late. The call-up came
Yeah, it's
40
no,
minutes
it's-
before.
You don't question the goat. You
Between
just-
So I
the-
don't even
laptop
need to look
and
here
the thing.
because I've just got Port and Melbourne, North the last 2, and that's when I got the call from Xavier saying, mate, the body's not even cold yet. You've filled the spot. I said, well, what have you got for Port Adelaide? And he just said, name their best kid.
the best kid.
We obviously know
Joe
they've got
Berry?
the stars.
Well, so what age are we talking here? Like 20 and under?
20 and under.
Joe Berry.
So their early draftees,
How old's
I think there's
Burgoyne?
been a Josh Sin.
21.
Nah, it's not Josh Sin.
There's been a Berry. Well, I think
do
the
we-
answer's no one. Last year they didn't take a draft pick.
I was going to say last year they set out the draft.
See that thing going around on the weekend? Was it Jared Healy or someone having a go at St Kilda for not drafting Josh Sin and picking Nazire instead?
Yeah, should have gone the local.
Yeah.
On the draft,
Yeah, on the
that
draft.
keeps coming
They're
back.
great.
But
Anyway.
I suppose they're playing with house money though, aren't they? Because they've got all
Next
these.
to Doug Cochran, although ex-pilot, what's his name? First name, I can't remember. Xanthi Pilot or whatever his first name is.
Yeah,
the
something
guy,
Pilot.
apparently, he's going to be, he might be given a basketball.
Really,
His missus is a very good basketball. They might go off to college together.
really.
Yeah, so they might
So they might
lose,
lose
one.
one.
There.
But then they'll
Dougie
gain-
Cochran's coming.
Pilot might
they'll
fly
gain-
off.
Yeah.
They'll gain 3 for Butters.
Oh, then they'll get 3 first round picks. Yeah, true.
So the whole, it's
What do you
about
mean?
now where
Butters
normally
resign,
the
surely.
noise comes in about the future draft, which is a guess for everyone. Like looking back at the most recent draft, I think it looked a good draft when everyone kept saying how shallow it was.
Yeah, I
weak
think
it
in
was.
hindsight it's come out okay.
So I'm
Was
not sure.
Zemmers
You're the man
Pilot.
around the under 18s, Rynne. Like,
Is this a good
Is
draft?
this a good draft? Because there's a world now where they need to have good kids, Port
Yeah,
Adelaide.
it's a good draft, but there's a lot of the top end tied up with people. So Walker, Carlton, Cochrane, Port Adelaide.
Buick,
yeah,
Essendon.
Yeah, there's a lot of, again, it's going to be every single year, but there's a lot of academy stuff going on.
Because he's gone, isn't he, Zach?
Oh, I think if I had to bet on it, I'd say yes.
I think he'll get tagged every week, which he has to get tagged every week because he is their best player. And if they
particularly if Rosie's doing the thing where he's playing wherever he wants. It's hard for Butters.
Now it's looking a bit grim.
Let me go to Collingwood. All right, I know they beat St Kilda the week before, but we're not quite sure where St Kilda's at. I'm really concerned, and I think the big thing is the forward line. Like, obviously, Jack Buller is a young guy who's still trying to figure himself out. Key talks take ages. That's way too much responsibility on a Jack Buller, an aging Tim Membry, an aging Elliott. It's too much to expect that forward line to kick a winning score every single week. And when you come up against low-scoring, grinded-out teams like St Kilda, you can maybe do it. You get a couple of goals from De Goey.
Best
maybe
young
get a goal
forwards in the wilderness and Bobby Hill.
Well, and I think back to that Collingwood-St Kilda game, and I was like, how much of that came down to Pendlebury? Like, when you think about
assists.
Yeah, like he was an unbelievable. He shifted that game completely when he came on, and then Ross pretended he didn't see him and didn't notice him. But it was like if they hadn't had that from Pendlebury, that magic sort of quarter and a half where he was setting up everything, they might not have won that game either. I think our concerns about Collingwood pre-season have been justified in the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
I don't think they're better than what they've shown.
Can Buller get to Mycheck levels?
Not now, not yet.
I don't
and
think so.
Mycheck, the thing about
was just a
Mycheck,
VFL pick
but he
up
was
himself.
crafty.
But he was a 7 every week.
Yeah, and Mycheck is he's one of the smartest footballers I think out there. Like the way he uses his body, he bobs up, kicks 3, but you don't notice him. Like he makes the right leading patterns every time. Maybe Jack Buller is that type of guy too, but I feel like Buller's more of a like, hey, in a couple of years, if this guy gets everything together, he could be a strong marking target.
So they're going to have to go all in for Ben King.
This is what I've written. So I think they will go all in on Ben King and Zach Butters.
And miss the draft again.
They'll go. They're going to tank the draft again. They'll go all in on King and Butters, and if they can get those two guys, they will completely turn around their fortunes. Because you could argue that what they need most is a Zach Butters in the middle there, dishing it out to Dacos, taking the pressure off of Dacos. Mention the two of them. Who do you tag? I'm telling you, they were chummy. And then King is exactly what they need because they can do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's getting lace-out passes from Butters and Dacos. Come on.
Thanks.
We still do think like with those two, if they can get Butters and King, they both should go. Well, no, they shouldn't go. I want King.
But if you tell the other one the other one's coming,
that's a more compelling reason to go.
Definitely.
If it was one, I'm like, we'll see how we go.
I reckon if you're Ben King, you win either way.
Yes.
Because if you stay at Gold Coast, you're probably going to win some stuff.
Go Collingwood,
you
get
go to
$1 billion.
Collingwood, you're getting paid tons. You're playing at MCG every week, playing in front of your family, playing with Nick Dacos. You've got the Collingwood stuff that comes with it. So I think he's win-win.
Richmond, so this is going, what was this, Thursday night? So this is a fair way ago. But how do you actually think, how do you assess the Tom Lynch game? Does it take away, if you just stop watching every time he marked it, you're like, this guy's unbelievable. He's ripped this game apart. But he lost the game for his team.
He lost the game, and he gave away 5 free kicks as well.
Well, that's the worst part. You cop the 7 points, like 1 goal 7, you get the bit of the yips. At least he's making a contest.
Yeah.
It's the 5 free kicks, which would be killer.
It was the worst good game anyone's ever played.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I think he had a negative rating points.
Did he?
It's remarkable.
For like someone who dominated his position like that, but just couldn't kick and got too angry. It must be some kind of like Richmond curse for full forwards past a certain age. You start kicking 1 goal 7, 2 goals 9.
Richo.
Yeah,
let's do something we haven't really done too often, but let's combine Richmond and Carlton here because I think.
What do you think, merge? Time to merge them?
I think so. No, like in terms of that game, because like if Lynch.
Oh, we doing 2 points in one.
Yeah, if Lynch just kicks straight, right? If Lynch and doesn't even kick that straight, just one more.
Yeah. And
they win that game. I have a feeling that things get really messy at Carlton very quickly. They got the bye. Like that would have been almost a death sentence.
Well, you see that Voss after the game saying, like, I hope Carlton players come out, Carlton supporters wear their scarves proudly. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, mate, Cripps said that, I think.
I get it for Cripper, but that is one of the worst wins I think I've ever seen. And then even the double fist bump at the end from Vossi when they won. I was like,
it's more of should be a relief.
I don't know, man.
Richmond have some spunk though, and
Richmond
where they've
unreal.
drafted.
Yeah.
Speaking of these quick outside runners, like
Grill.
all of them, Grill himself,
Grill.
but even their first batch, if it's a Mansell or even a Steele, Steely Green,
Steely Green,
like they've got these players who buzz up, and that's not even including Seth Campbell, who we've all fell in love with last year. Like they've got these players who can impact up forward to centre.
Crafty.
They're
all about the same size, and they're all like pretty quick.
So they're
Sam
fun.
Lawler, the blind turn goal from the boundary.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Jesus.
They're gonna annoy some teams.
Jagger or Lawler if the draft again.
Lawler.
One had 30 odd. One only had 16 and kicked a couple.
Might be different in 5 years, but I go Lawler.
I'll take Jagger.
ceiling is
I'll
high.
take Jagger, but it's very close.
Good draft.
I think if sometimes those number ones like they panic a little and just need the 200 gamer, 30 disposals.
Yeah.
So that'd be the Jagger. But otherwise, I think ceiling wise, game breaking, everything else.
I think that's the right.
You go Lawler.
That's the right. So we've done 2 teams there. That's good.
Yeah, right.
I just think
Carlton
Carlton are hanging by an absolute thread, but that might be the thing that saves Vossi for a little bit because they've got a relatively easy fixture coming up now, we think.
And Carlton was Melbourne, the old school contested footy, dump it inside 50. The forwards never got a look.
They just stopped.
So I think Carlton supporters will be watching what Melbourne, and yes, Melbourne was against St Kilda and they might get smashed, or we hope they get smashed this weekend, but they think, well, that's a clear change in their game style, bit of fun. I like going to the footy again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas Carlton, it's just a bit of same old, isn't it?
Agreed.
It's a grind again. Okay, back to yourselves.
North Melbourne. So North dished up what I think we all kind of expected the last couple of years, which was they've got a good midfield. LDU, Sheasel, McKercher runs through there.
Yep. O'Sullivan
looked like the number 2 pick, which we didn't quite see those glimpses of. Forward line's dangerous. So they might, it was positive to watch. Big Cherry, the ruckman. The interesting fact is he's one of the best rucks in the comp, made the State of Origin. At quarter time, because he's not a jumper, so these new rules have kind of really hurt poor old Cherry. He had 0 hit outs at quarter time.
Really?
Hayden Young had 1 hit out to advantage
against Vicentini.
Against the kid Vicentini. But he fought his way back and he still did what he did, tackled. And I dare say what Witts did to Matt Flynn on Sunday.
Jesus.
That Cherry might find himself a few little hit outs this weekend and
maybe
get back on the board.
That was brutal.
Is there any, where's that Bailey we'll talk about Western Side.
What about Luke
Dylan
Parker?
Stephen.
Jeez,
Luke Parker,
I
the halfback
really
flank.
liked that because he's a pretty good user of the footy, but he's so tough and he's an interceptor as well. He's always been a good mark, Luke Parker. He's been a better mark than his size. I love that move.
Yeah, they've always had that halfback flanker who always accumulates, whether it's a
Zeeble, Aaron
Hall, Caleb Daniel.
I forgot about the Aaron Hall.
And they're all just a little bit outside and give me the footy and get me some touches, which Parker can be that. But also you put him next to a McDonald who's tough, and then they've got the decent keys.
Yeah.
They're looking a bit stronger back there.
There was a lot of, where he had to go and fly in a pack and put his body on the line, and he did it.
It was as tough as they come, Luke Parker.
And he took a couple of grabs. Other times he just helped spoil the play. But it was like, Caleb can't do that.
Nah.
Like Aaron Hall couldn't do that. So
Caleb still pops up for games,
he
doesn't
does. He still pops up. But you've got this perfect personnel to play that role now. I love it.
The only thing it
he's
eats
going to
into
yell at people, his teammates,
is
as well.
the McKercher who showed signs of him running off half-back flank and getting the easy footy. But if he can do what he did for that small passage of kicking that goal and running inside
how was
50,
that little
that's
dart
obviously
through
going to
the
be
middle there?
More dangerous, and he came off a limited pre-season. So hopefully we see him
My
bounce.
man Dylan Stevens as well, career game.
Crazy
Yes.
game.
He's
Gotta
back.
keep checking.
He's back.
There's still
West
time.
Coast should have done that
There's
trade.
still
Up a few
time.
years ago.
There's still time.
We'll skip you because you
I've done mine.
bailed on Carlton.
Jeez, that was clever, wasn't it?
So Brisbane Lions. This is actually Mark Duffield made the call on his show the other day when we were talking about the Longmuir Caro spraying him for being a whinger.
Oh, right.
Fagan rolled out about 8 excuses why they lost and said it's no excuse. It's like basically the same thing, but he gets a pass because he's won 2
Helps when
flags
you
in
won
a
a
row.
couple of flags,
Yeah. But does their defence, I've been wondering about this, does their defence affect their window? Like we saw on the weekend, they were just missing basically all the good guys down there in the back line. And then I was looking through it. So Leicester's 33, Andrews 29, Gardner 30, which leads me to another question. Does Oscar Allen go back?
Throw in that Starcevic left. And
Starcevic left.
I think Starcevic was very important to what they did. A lot. And
But like everyone else, they've got youth everywhere else. You're like, oh, this is brilliant. This will go forever. And then their key backs, even all the backs. Like,
in terms of their keys, yes. But I
They've got
always
Kitty
find
Coleman,
like key
etc.,
backs,
but-
like there's some dude probably in the VFL right now, he's plying his trade that they've
You can
got.
find a Sam Collins.
That they've probably already got on their list that we just don't know about that they're going to bring in.
Potentially.
And he'll be pretty decent. I don't know. Like, you don't have to draft them high is what I'm saying. They might be able to find one of them. But yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Just the way,
it feels like
they've won
vibes
their
off.
flags on these Dower, do their role. Ryan Lesser, Starcevic, and Harris Andrews.
Archie.
They just do what they need to do, and then they've got the dashing halfback flankers, Wilmot, Zorko.
But yeah, it was very clear on the weekend that last line wasn't
now
there.
they've lost it, Oscar Allen.
Well,
would that be a hit to the ego for him? Or
Well, I think he just has to take what he's given. He's
the
not
vibe
his ego hasn't got much left in it.
I reckon the vibe is way off from Brisbane. I'm not saying we're writing them off by any stretch of the
was
imagination.
that like 0-2? What was that the year before when they won the flag?
Well,
0
they're just
on
running
6?
into all kinds of problems at the moment. Like
Good
everything.
time to have them though.
They've got time and they're good enough to recover. We know that.
2 years in a row we've had
Another quick one on Brisbane. Just apologies. I did last week ask the question, has there ever been a Brisbane-Sydney grand final? It was 2 years ago. It was pointed out by several people across all channels and forums. I got it okay.
Who was
Couldn't remember that one. I was blank going out.
leading goal kicker for Bulldogs again?
I said the name just came into my head. Crammery.
Crammery. The best part was when Xavier said yes, and you said really, like genuine hope.
Mate, I just believe him.
What do you have, like 130 goals or something?
He was just a little bit off.
Just a slightly off.
And most of them for Essendon.
Sydney Swans, who obviously things are all good. 2 and zip compared to Brisbane,
not all
looking
good.
good. But then the Goulden dagger at the end. And
What is it, 4 months?
4 months, a big chunk of time.
It genuinely hurts my heart. I love Errol's my favourite player.
He missed that big, I think he missed the first 14 rounds or 13 rounds last year.
Yeah, and they
were 5 and 8.
Far worse
He
side.
then returned 7 and 3 to finish the season. Obviously, he didn't even have his best season, obviously off that interruption last year, but Yaheeni's grew, like he played his best football second half of the year.
Yep.
Grundy, Warner, he just elevates everyone.
Oh, and he started like a house on fire this year.
Oh, yeah.
But in the 2 injuries he's
I
had...
think that's why Zave's not here, to be honest with you. He's had a bit riding into
Brownlow.
Yeah.
The 2 injuries too have both been through tackles that have just gone wrong. Like the first one was his ankle got caught underneath, and then the McCarthy one where he sort of slipped low and then forced him to sort of slam his arm out there and catch himself. I was reading something from, I think Dr. Peter Larkins was saying that you can get back in 3 months if everything goes right with the surgery and depends. So we might be looking at still, either way, it's still 12, 13, 14 games that he's missing.
Yeah.
Like
I think
it's a
they're
lot
better
of footy.
suits. So before it was just all about the big 3, Warner, Heaney, Goulden. I think obviously it didn't help him last year when he was out, but now we're seeing a lot more of Oscar McInerney, Justin McInerney playing inside midfield, Sheldrick's getting some regular minutes. So Warner's been playing forward, so they're a lot less reliant on those big, or trying to be less reliant on those big 3 under Cox. So hopefully it doesn't hurt them as much, but you'd have to say they've got some important players there, Grundy and the fullback, McCartney, but I think he would be their most important midfielder, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. And just fun to
So
watch.
McCartney?
Like it just really ruins footy when those guys aren't playing.
And the runners, we mentioned Richards and Max, like that's Goulden.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. He was having an
he's gotta lap it
outstanding
up.
start to the season. It's really flattening. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be better placed this year, as you say. And then last year there was a few other injuries as well. Geez, Riley Bice.
Yeah, you picked that early.
I love Riley Bice.
Started well last year and then faded.
I always find if there's a guy who can use his boot like that, then if they can get him up to speed on the other stuff. And I think that's what his problem was last year, right? He could use the footy, but defensively maybe he wasn't doing the things that they wanted him to do. So he spends the whole preseason working on how do I stop an opponent. And you can see he's actually doing that now. He's getting across contest to spoil. He's not always just trying to get the footy. But when he gets it...
That's another state league archetype. You talked about bringing up those key defenders.
The
You get them
lefties.
later. The left, like Rowan Steele
The lefties,
at Collingwood.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he looked really good
here,
too.
like that sort of wing outside who can use it. Like, you can just figure out the rest.
No, he's a nice player. St Kilda. So how much of this is fit and time to just work it out? A lot of new players, a lot of guys in different spots, trying to work out how everybody needs to be played, and how much of it is red flags. And Ross seems to be completely fine with everything. He's very patient. And Naz has been good in moments, but he hasn't won them games. And they've had 2 winnable games.
Yeah.
And we keep expecting him to just do something insane because he did it a couple of times last year. How do we feel about St Kilda in general? Are we worried at all?
Worried.
Or is this just this needs a month and then they'll be fine?
Worried.
Really?
Yeah. It looks like the AFL has like de-Rossified the game.
Yeah.
That's
that
true.
pace.
Because I was going to say Ross has done a lot more damage with far lesser lists at
Correct.
Fremantle and also at St Kilda.
Yeah.
And now he's got himself hands on these decent players. And the people are bagging poor old TDK who's up against the greatest of all time. Gordon. He'll be fine.
And he was almost laid out with illness, apparently, TDK.
Yes. Naz, like Silvani's a soldier. Like I think I think the acquisitions are actually good and they should challenge. I didn't think your way that the AFL, the way they're moving the football and can't let Ross slow the ball down and not let them pile on these goals, potentially could hurt them. But I'm not out on St Kilda.
They have used Jack McRae at 50% game time 2 weeks
why
in
even
a row.
have him on the list? Like,
It's interesting to see what they're doing with him because at some point, are you just wasting a spot in year 23?
Yeah, that's an odd one. Like watching the way the game's moving and with the pickets for Melbourne, running through and grabbing the footy. And Jack Steele looked lost. You think, gee, St Kilda made the right call here by moving on Jack Steele and getting Max Hall now in there and these quicker mids. But then you think, well, why did you get rid of Jack Steele, but then the year before get Jack McRae, who's probably a lesser?
Yeah, and leave him and keep him in the team.
And keep him in the team.
And then you got Sam Flanders, who's again like, well, give him time.
He's been underwhelming.
But
He's
been
the one I think we wanted and expected purely just on numbers to be a bit more, give them a bit more dash than. Even do what Jack McRae did at the start of last year where his impact was getting questioned, but at least he was getting his 35. I thought that would be Flanders.
Well, yeah, I mean, Flanders, if nothing else, is an accumulator.
Because who's their second best mid? If Nas has to sit forward,
Filippo.
Who's going to win it for him?
He's hurt too.
Yeah.
That's unique.
Back to me. All right, we'll wrap it up with West Coast.
I've still got a team to go. You have a team to go?
I think I'm out.
I've still got a team to go.
Did you
did the
Carlton?
2 for 1.
Yeah, I know, but I've still got Essendon. How many teams did you give me?
I don't know what happened.
Are you sure you guys have done all your teams? Have you got West Coast?
Yeah, this is what we're doing now, West Coast.
Okay.
So, first of all,
how did that happen?
what do we see? Again, we'll talk about the doubters. Yeah, I'm not sure what the hell happened there. Talk about doubters. First, I was up on Milan. As they've said, he's coming in the team. He's not leaving. I'm not sure. He's probably their best player.
Oh, no, I just wasn't sure if he'd play immediately.
Yeah,
I didn't think that he'd be rushed into the team like that. And I did think as well that he would play a role, that half-forward role, when he'd sort of get lost in it.
He played the role. But he just
he played amazingly.
And that's what I haven't seen a guy. That's exactly how he plays in the waffle. And it just translated immediately.
Yeah.
AFL level. Like, same kind of, he didn't take time to pick up the pace. Like, he was running harder than a lot of his teammates.
He played like someone, it was like they'd said to him, mate, you get to play one AFL game, off you go.
Yeah.
And he's just gone, screw it.
I'll be everywhere.
I'm playing as hard as I can. I'm giving it 150%.
Well, that's what the West Coast supporters are saying, that the way he was attacking the contest at speed, they haven't seen that from other players who've been in their system for... And it just has to make you question. Like, same with old Tom McCarthy, who came in mid-season last year and was top 2.
But this was the problem. They didn't have anything coming through. And so even like the Lindsay kick out, you know the one I'm talking about, where he...
Oh, beautiful. Early in the game.
So I was calling the game, and as he was taking it out, I was like, oh, this kid's a beautiful kick of the footy. And as he was about to kick it, and he took off the most difficult possible kick, and I was like, shit, I've jinxed him. And he nailed it. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like that.
So what did you think 2 quarters later when he went to get the ball and Ryan Marrick comes in and says, give me the ball, son?
That's not on.
Let the kid
immediately, if you're Andrew McCall, you say, if this guy's here, give it to him. But I just think that's another case of it, right? With the Murdoch thing, they haven't seen that. Lindsay, they haven't seen that. Even Duursma, a couple of his
he's running bounces
reaching and running, and he butchered the kick a couple of times. Yeah. But even seeing that, it was like, what is this?
There was one rock contest, I can't remember what quarter it was, where I was like, CDT, I was like, that's nice. That's a good sign.
And this is what they haven't had. So they're gonna lose a lot of footy, they're gonna lose a lot of games, but they've got some stuff in there now that
I will go next week and have something to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
And only because I'm sitting in Zave's seat, I have to say something about Harley. I wanted more from Fit Harley.
More from Harley.
Skinny,
more from Fit Harley.
Harley.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have no teams left?
No, you go.
I've still got Essendon.
Essendon.
Okay, it's going to be a really long year for Essendon fans. But as we keep saying, we're okay with that, right? We want them to keep doing what they're doing, bringing the talent in the door.
I want a bit more than that. I thought that'd be a little bit more watchable.
Well, the weird one, and I don't know if there's more to this, and I haven't seen if there is anything more to this, is the Archie Roberts time on ground.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's one of their best kids. He's a good user of the footy typically when sometimes he can butcher it, but other times he's great. He runs all day, and yet he played, 48% or 55%, something in the low.
He was 4th in their BNF last year.
Yeah, no, he was 2nd.
Archie Roberts finished 2nd.
Yeah.
2nd in their BNF, then that's better than 4th.
Right.
He had a career low time on ground, 77 minutes. And he led the Bombers last year for minutes. He went from the
So maybe he was
highest Bombers.
Must have been something wrong.
Well, watching him in the preseason, he didn't look unwell. He looked outstanding.
Maybe
in that
he had
midfield.
like an illness and he was borderline not to play. I don't know.
So then you think, okay, well, they must have given time to, Caldwell and Parrish.
Yeah.
Parrish had 40 minutes on the bench, Caldwell 35. So all these other coaches are pulling levers with a Papley and introducing kids coming off. I don't know what Brad Scott was doing in there.
Me
with that midfield
neither.
rotation.
And so the Caldwell, Parrish, Merritt, Durham. There's 4 guys here.
They've probably got a better midfield than Hawthorn on paper.
On paper.
And we get sucked into the numbers. But we think, they're going to compete here.
If you do the old line them up, they're next to each other and who wins that contest.
Darcy Parish had this amazing pre-season. Everyone was talking about how good it was. And he just looked like
Darcy
Parish
for the whole third quarter.
Well, it was bizarre. Yeah, I don't know.
Was there truth to, the Sharp, who looked pretty good, the draftee?
Yeah, Dyson Sharp.
Laid some tackles, kicked some goals, played half forward and benched. There was a tweet which popped up saying that his dad went to the rooms and said something to the coach
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Just
no.
popped up
Surely
on the
not.
algorithm.
Surely
Can't
not.
be true.
It can't be true.
The dad looked like he had a bit of go about him, though.
There's no way you could do that in game
19 beers during
This
the
is
game
not
and go down
under
and spray the
15s.
coach.
Like, you can't be doing that if that's true.
Oh, God, that reminds me of one of my like a perfect Ross story. I was in the rooms waiting to interview someone. A kid came up. His parents were standing next to me. And I just overheard. He came up to him. He just looked like just drooped, shoulders drooped.
The player?
Like, he ran out for his first game. He's fine. He said, they're like, what's going on? He's like, he just said, not good enough.
Can you name the player?
He might be. It was Darcy Tucker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He might
played his first
game.
Yeah,
He might have got it right, Ross.
That's brutal.
He's like, Selby's just lined him up on the other end of his
That
career.
was his first game. His last game, he finished with 0 possessions.
Oh.
He was tagging Connor Rosie last year, and Connor Rosie had 35 or something by three-quarter time, subbed out. Never played again. So his final game, do you reckon he was hunched over after his debut? Should have seen him last year.
All right, well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your patience with us this week. The mailbag will be, we always record it on a different day.
Looks a ripper bloke, Tucker, and was a good footballer.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
With the mailbag, it's always recorded on a different day. But
Absolutely.
This week,
Well, now it
different
is.
day.
This week, it
What do you
definitely
mean
will
now
be.
it is? It always is.
It always is.
So it's going to be, it'll be
If you want
in your
evidence.
feed at some point.
It'll be there.
If you want
some
evidence
stage.
that's recorded on a separate day, Zave will be here.
Yeah, there we go.
That's true.
Maybe.
That's true.
And then we'll be back for teams later in the week. This episode has been brought to you by Tab Touch. The more you know, the better it gets. Download the Tab Touch app today. Real punters play here. What are you really gambling with?